But some good news on the horizon about another vaccine candidate, with Moderna announcing today its vaccine is almost 95% effective in early trials at preventing COVID-19. So let's talk to our 9 Health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, breaking down the science and the implications for the potential as we hope to end that pandemic. And Dr. Kohli, this is exciting news. Some, though, are hesitating to get that vaccine. Many reasons. Some people think it might actually be something that gives you COVID. I wonder if that's similar to the myth that we have for many that the flu vaccine actually can give you the flu.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked this question because you're right. About 40% of Americans are worried that they might contract COVID from the vaccine. But Tom, that's scientifically impossible to do. And that's what's so great about these vaccines. Because of their design, they're messenger RNA or mRNA vaccines, which essentially means that you're just getting injected with a small little piece of the genetic blueprint of just a part of the virus, the spike protein, that protein that the virus uses to get inside cells. So you're definitely not getting the whole virus inactivated or activated or in any form. You're just getting essentially just a little piece of its genetic blueprint, and then your immune system can learn how to fight it. But Tom, keep in mind that based on the preliminary clinical trials data, people do have, a malaise, arthralgias, fatigue, fever occurring after the injection, but that is not them getting sick with the virus. That is their immune system revving up and learning how to fight the infection.
It's been a very interesting week. I think when I was learning about messenger RNA, it had just been invented. It was a while ago. I didn't get it then, but now it really is something that we're starting to learn quite a bit about for all of us, for regular people. So let's talk about the two vaccines. Pfizer comes out a week ago, Moderna now. Is there a big difference? Is there an advantage of one over the other?
There are a lot of similarities between these two front-runner candidates. So as you said, they're both messenger RNA vaccines, so they work by similar technology like we discussed. They're both given in 2 doses, and they're both about similar efficacy. So the Pfizer vaccine was about 90%, as we talked about last week. This one's about 94.5%. But where the difference really comes in with the Moderna vaccine having a huge advantage, in my opinion, over the Pfizer vaccine is how it's stored and how it's thawed. So the storage for this vaccine is at minus 20 degrees Celsius, which is minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, as opposed to the Pfizer vaccine, which is minus 70 degrees Celsius. And then once you thaw it, Tom, the Pfizer vaccine is only stable in the fridge for 5 days, as opposed to the Moderna vaccine, which is stable for 30 days in the fridge. Now think about the implications of this, because the World Health Organization estimates that greater than half of the vaccines that are distributed go bad because they're not stored properly. And the mRNA vaccines, as we've talked about, are essentially very sensitive to being stored at extremely cold temperatures because that mRNA can degrade very quickly. So you have this cold chain that you have to maintain. So the Moderna vaccine really does introduce a very exciting new development because it can be stored at less cold temperatures and it can be kept in the fridge, which a lot of places have, like doctors' offices, for up to 30 days.
We're talking about 90% and 94% efficacy, but what about safety? What is it you want to know before you're ready to get this vaccine for yourself or to give to your family or friends or patients?
Yeah, my top concern really is the safety. So in the press release, the Moderna has released a little bit of preliminary information about safety. And so far, it's just been the usual things that we expect in a vaccine: injection site reactions, muscle aches and pains, fevers like we discussed, headache, fatigue. So nothing alarming there. But I do have to say that this is a brand new vaccine technology. The mRNA has not been used in a vaccine before, and likely it is going to take several million doses before we start to see some of those rare safety side effects emerge. So it's going to need really close surveillance even after its release. But the second question, Tom, that still remains on my mind is regarding efficacy. So we're seeing these dramatic numbers, and now that we've seen them in 2 different trials, they're a little bit more likely to be true. But keep in mind that it's very small numbers that we're talking about. So in this Moderna trial, 90 people in the placebo arm got the infection and only 5 people in the vaccine arm. So a total of 95 infections out of 30,000 people. And the way the trial was designed, you really needed to hit at least 165 infections in order to know that this didn't just happen by statistical probability and was a real signal. So I still want to wait for all the data to come in before I think I'll be fully convinced, but I'm certainly very excited.
Yeah, good first step, but just a first step at this point. Well, Dr. Kohli, of course, we'll be visiting back with you as we continue to get more information. Thanks as always.